Something's going down in Chicago that's got the whole organization on edge. A starting running back losing the job right in front of our eyes. A battle in the trenches nobody saw coming that could reshape the future of this franchise. And a group of no-name linebackers just pulled off the unthinkable against one of the most physical teams in the league. Let me tell you something, what happened this Sunday at Soldier Field wasn't luck. It was a statement. But the question everyone in Chi-Town is asking right now is, how long can this magic last before reality hits us in the face? Stick around till the end, because what's coming next could define the rest of our season. And if you're a Bears fan and you're not subscribed to this channel, you're missing out on the most explosive Navy and Orange updates out there. Smash that like button and turn on notifications right now. After years of watching this team desperately search for a reliable running back, we thought we finally had our guy in D'Andre Swift since he got to Chicago. We were sold on the idea that we had a complete back, someone who could carry the rock 20 times a game and be a threat both on the ground and through the air. The past few weeks gave us hope. Swift was running with purpose, with that downhill aggression this city demands. But then Sunday against Pittsburgh, it all came crashing down in the worst way possible. Swift's performance was flat out unacceptable. 8 carries for just 15 yards. Let me say that again, 15 yards on 8 attempts. That's 1.9 yards per carry against the Steelers' defense that, yeah, is physical, but far from unbeatable. And here's what really worries me, it wasn't just the lack of production. It was the lack of effort. The lack of that fire we saw earlier in the season. I think Swift fell back into his old habits, the same ones that made him so frustrating to watch in Detroit. Instead of hitting the hole with authority, he was dancing behind the line, looking for the big play instead of grinding out the tough yards. And in Chicago, at Soldier Field, against physical teams like Pittsburgh, that just doesn't cut it. But wait, it gets worse. Swift fumbled. Now, the report says it was a questionable call, but let me ask you this, does it matter? In the NFL, especially when you're trying to build an identity with a rookie quarterback, you can't turn the ball over, period. I don't care if it was questionable or not. That ball hit the turf, and that's on your record. And here's the part that should be keeping Swift up at night. Kyle Monange took over in the clutch moments. An undrafted rookie who's barely seen the field this season came in and gave us 48 yards on 12 carries and a touchdown. While Swift was averaging under 2 yards a pop, Monange was giving us exactly what we needed: consistent yards and all-out effort on every snap. Let me be real with you, when your offensive coordinator benches you in crunch time for a rookie, that's not a coincidence. That's a message. That's the team telling you they don't trust you when it matters most. And let's talk real numbers. Swift's cap hit next season is no joke. Ryan Poles is going to have to make some tough calls with the salary cap. And when you've got a running back eating up real money, but getting outplayed by an undrafted rookie, those decisions get a whole lot easier. Look around the division. The Lions have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery splitting touches and both producing. The Vikings have Aaron Jones still getting it done at 29. Even the Packers, who are pass-heavy, have Josh Jacobs giving them steady production. And us, the Bears, with a legacy of legendary backs from Walter Payton to Matt Forte, are watching our starter struggle to crack 2 yards a carry. This isn't just about one bad game. Swift's shown this pattern before. When defenses get physical and close gaps fast, he doesn't have the vision or decisiveness to find the tough yards. And in the NFC North, where every team plays smash-mouth defense, that's a major problem. Here's the truth: if Kyle Monange keeps running like he did Sunday, if he keeps bringing that energy and purpose, Ryan Poles is going to have a business decision to make. And I think we all know what that decision's going to be. Do you think Swift can bounce back from this? Or have you seen enough to say Monange should be the guy? If that surprised you, just wait, because what happened on the offensive line this Sunday could have massive implications for the future of this franchise. We've been through it when it comes to protecting the quarterback. Ever since Trubisky was getting lit up every third down, we've seen our QBs running for their lives, sacks that should have been avoided, and drives killed by a line that couldn't hold up. Theo Benedette, a second-year undrafted left tackle, had been holding it down this season. Not perfect, but solid. Then, right before the Steelers game, he pops up on the injury report with a quad issue from practice and gets ruled out. Enter Ozzy Trapilo. Trapilo, a second-round pick this year, had been waiting for his shot. And on Sunday, against one of the most aggressive, physical defenses in the league against T.J. Watt and that Steelers front, Trapilo didn't just survive. He dominated. Let me hit you with the numbers. Trapilo allowed just 1 pressure all game, 0 sacks. And here's the kicker: 0 penalties. Against the Steelers. Against a defense that lives off pressuring the quarterback and forcing O-line mistakes. So let me ask you, how's Benedett supposed to get his job back after that? The truth is, as much as Benedett's given effort and heart, he's not a long-term starting left tackle in this league. We all knew it. The front office knew it. But he was doing just enough to hold on to the job. Until now. Trap Ilo showed Sunday that he's got the tools to be a top-tier tackle in this league. His footwork was clean, his hands were strong, and most importantly, he kept Caleb Williams upright. And when you've got a quarterback like Williams, a potential face of the franchise, guy for the next 15 years, your number one job is to protect him. And here's what's got me hyped: Trapilo's on a rookie deal. That gives Ryan Poles huge flexibility with the cap for the next 4 years. While other teams are shelling out $20 million a year for their left tackles, we might have one locked in on a rookie contract, freeing up money for other needs. Look at what happened with the Packers when David Bakhtiari went down. They spent years trying to replace him, burning picks and cash in free agency. The Vikings have had a revolving door at left tackle since Riley Reiff left, and the Bears might have found our answer in the second round. But now Matt Eberflus and the offensive staff have a decision to make. Do you give Trapilo the job full-time, or give Benedett another shot when he's healthy? If I'm Ryan Poles, if I'm the GM, I need to know if Trapilo is my left tackle of the future. I need to see him in more games against more elite fronts to know if I need to spend a first-round pick or big money on that position next year. And the hard truth for Benedett is this: he hasn't done enough to lock down that job. He's been solid, but solid isn't enough when you've got a second-round rookie who might be special. This reminds me of when the Bears had Kyle Long in his prime. Long wasn't the most gifted tackle, but he gave max effort every snap and protected his quarterback. Trapilo's got that same mindset, but with better physical tools. The offensive line is the heartbeat of any football team. In Chicago, with our tradition of physical play and dominant defense, we've always valued the trenches. And if Trapilo can be the cornerstone of our O-line for the next decade, that changes everything for this franchise. Do you think Benedett deserves another shot? Or has Trapilo already earned the job? Now here's where things get absolutely wild, and this has the whole league talking. After years of getting crushed by injuries at the worst times, after watching teams like the Packers and Vikings somehow stay healthy, while we lose key guys every week, we thought we'd seen it all. Then this week happened. Tremaine Edmunds, our starting linebacker and defensive leader, goes on IR. That makes for defensive starters on IR this season. For the Steelers game, we also lost TJ Edwards and Noah Sewell. That means we went into the game with none of our starting linebackers. And here's where it gets even crazier during the game. We lost Tyreek Stevenson in the secondary and backup linebacker Ruben Hippolyte. 2. We were playing with guys who literally got called up from the practice squad the day before. Let me ask you this: how many teams in the NFL can lose 6 defensive starters and still beat an 8-3 team like the Steelers? DeMarco Jackson and Ruben Hippolyte started the game with a combined 50 defensive snaps all season. 50. And they were expected to stop Russell Wilson, Najee Harris, and one of the most physical tight end groups in the league. And when Hippolyte went down in the first half, in came Amen Ogbongbemiga, a special teams guy who hadn't played a single defensive snap this year. And when he got hurt, Carl Jones Jr., who was signed off the practice squad on Saturday, had to step in. This is straight out of a Hollywood script. You can't make this stuff up. And here are the numbers that blew my mind. Marco Jackson finished with 15 tackles, leading the team. Ogbongbemiga had 14 before going down. And we're not talking about garbage time tackles chasing receivers 15 yards downfield. These were tackles at the line of scrimmage, shutting down Pittsburgh's starting O-line. The Steelers ran for 125 yards in the first half, and we all thought they were about to go for 300. But in the second half, these no-name linebackers held them to just 61 yards, 61 against Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, 2 of the most physical backs in the league. And here's what's got analysts across the league scratching their heads. We all thought Pittsburgh's tight ends were going to feast. Darnell Washington, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, that's one of the most dangerous tight end groups in the NFL. And with backup linebackers covering them, it should have been a bloodbath, but it wasn't. Washington had 2 catches for 22 yards. Smith had 3 for 21. Freiermuth had 3 for 19. Combined, Pittsburgh's 3 starting tight ends had under 65 yards. That's nothing for a group like that. I think this is a huge credit to Dennis Allen and his defensive staff. Allen's had to deal with more injuries than any DC in the league, and he's still got this defense playing at an elite level. His ability to prep backups, simplify the game plan without losing effectiveness, that's why this defense is still one of the best in the NFL. Compare that to what happened with the Packers when they lost Jaire Alexander and Rashan Gary last year. Their defense fell apart. The Vikings lost Danielle Hunter and their pass rush vanished. The Lions have been dealing with injuries in the secondary all year and are giving up 25 points a game, and the Bears, with 6 defensive starters out, held the Steelers to just 21 points, and 7 of those came off Caleb's fumble in the end zone. And of those 21, 7 came on a trick play, a fake tush push nobody saw coming. This reminds me of the 2018 defense. Scalo Mack, Roquan Smith, Eddie Jackson, that crew. That defense had elite talent, but more importantly, it had depth. Guys who could step in and run the system without missing a beat. And now, in 2025, we're seeing that same kind of depth take shape. Ryan Poles has built a roster that doesn't rely on just 2 or 3 stars. We've got guys all over the depth chart who know the system and can execute when called on. The question now is, what happens when Edwards and Sewell are healthy? Do they automatically go back to the starting lineup? Or have Jackson and Ogbongbemiga earn more snaps? If I'm Matt Eberflus, I'm finding ways to keep Jackson on the field. 15 tackles against the Steelers isn't luck, it's talent and preparation. And with a short week coming up against Philly on Thanksgiving, we need all the depth we can get. This defense, even with all the injuries, even with practice squad guys playing real snaps, just proved it can hang with anyone in the NFL. And when we get everyone back, Edwards, Sewell, Stevenson, this defense is going to be unstoppable. Do you think Jackson and Ogbongbemiga should stay in the starting lineup? Or was this just a one-game miracle? Look, I know this video was long, but we had to break down everything that happened Sunday because it was historic. We've got a starting running back losing his job in real time. We've got a rookie tackle who might be the long-term answer on the O-line. And we've got unknown linebackers doing the impossible against one of the AFC's best teams. So let me ask you this about Swift and Monange. Do you give Swift another shot? Or has Monange earned the starting role? Drop your thoughts in the comments. About Trapilo and Benedette, has Trapilo locked up the job? Or should Benedette get a chance to fight for it when he's healthy? I want to hear what you think. And about the linebackers, was this a one-time miracle? Or has Ryan Poles really built the kind of depth we need to chase a championship? Because here's the truth. Bears fans, we're building something special in Chicago. We've got a franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. We've got a GM in Ryan Poles making smart moves. We've got a defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen getting the most out of every player on the roster. And we've got a community, a family of fans who live and breathe Navy and Orange every single day. If you want to be part of this family, if you want to stay on top of every move, every update, every breakdown about the Chicago Bears, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. Because I promise you, tomorrow, the next day, every day, this week we're going to have more breaking news about this team. Hit that like button if you think Monange should be the starter. Hit that like if you think Trapilo's already won the job. Hit that like if you're as fired up as I am about this defense. And turn on notifications, because with a short week and Philly coming up Thursday, the news is going to be flying and you can't miss a thing. This is our season, Bears fans. This is our moment, and together, as a family, we're going to watch this team go where it belongs. Bear down, Chicago. See you in the next video.